regarding the proposed amendment in terms of reference to media program, that one's, is that still current?
Yeah, 10.2 was withdrawn, Your Worship.
Sorry, what was that?
10.2 was withdrawn.
Yeah.
Before the agenda was finalised.
Next one that deals with those a motion from Councillor Charles in relation to the HorseDrawn Tram service. Someone like to move that that be received, thank you. Councillor Andrews, thank you very much, and seconded by Councillor Charles, thank you. Any discussions on that, Councillor Charles?
Well,
No, sorry, yes, Councillor Jenkins.
I've just got a concern with part 2. Councillor Charles, you say the council delay calling for expressions of interest in the privatisation of Vector Harbour HorseDrawn Tram. There's never, as far as I'm aware, been any thought given to privatising the tram. Outsourcing is one of the options, but certainly not privatising. I wonder if you could change that word to outsourcing.
Yeah, perhaps if we just receive the motion, and then we'll go to the motions after that. We can have that discussion. Yes, Councillor Tibbett.
Your Worship, I really wonder whether this is really necessary. Tonight we have reviewed the policy for the committee to work forward, and I just think we've covered all these things, and it's really not necessary. With respect, Councillor Charles, you may not have perhaps realised all that was coming out of the previous discussion, but I think it's all covered, and I can't see that this is a necessary motion.
Thank you. In closing debate, Councillor Andrews.
I believe it is necessary, or it was necessary when this was actually put up. It's only since the committee has stood on its... let's turn around and say it's only since the committee has had some robust discussions that we've got the amendments changed, or the motions changed. So certainly it was, and I'm quite happy to support Councillor Charles in all his motions.
Thank you. That ends the debate and receiving the information. All those in favour of receiving information? And those against? That's carried, thank you. And going on to recommendation 2, Councillor Charles, you want to move your recommendation and speak to it?
Well, I'd be happy to delete 2 if that helps Councillor Chickwitten. I can see we could change it to outsourcing, but outsourcing and privatisation are one and the same as far as I'm concerned. They're interchangeable. Outsourcing, I don't think so. So I'd be happy with to not cause too much angst and just delete and remove that portion number 2, if that's all right with everybody here and with you, Chair.
And what wording would you like?
Oh no, to actually remove it, just remove it completely. The council delay calling for expressions of interest in the privatisation. I'm sure that that's what the committee want to do. I have faith in them, so as Councillor, what's his name over there, Andrew says, the robust debate has made him more than happy, so I think we can remove that, but I want to retain parts 3 and 4. Thank you.
Okay, if you wish to remove number 2, that's done. Now move to number 3.
Right, then I'll explain that the committee being provided with a full 24 months. If required, we can make an addition there. That was what was assumed in any event, to determine by way of advice as to whether the horse-drawn tram is able to be brought back into profit or break even, and to explore the opportunities for private or corporate sponsorship. Now, I know that's going to be done anyway, but I feel there is no hurry to get it right. It is from the point of view of horses and care of the horses, there is. There's no doubt about that, but that's been looked after, I'm assured. So the rest of it really doesn't matter very much. I know they'll make quick progress, but they don't need to be curtailed and boxed into a period of time and we're assuming these people are intelligent and they know exactly what they're doing, and we're watching or overseeing.
Thank you. Looking for a second? Councillor Andrews, thank you. Do you want to speak to second?
Yes. Look, Councillor Charles is saying everything. At the end of the day, by all means, can have 12 months, 24 months there. But our committee will be working diligently and fast. At the end of the day, I assume, and I can ask our chair to speak, but I believe that we would have an operation and reports back to this council within about 2 months. In other words, September, October meeting, I would think that we would be having your first report back after we've done due diligence. And as I said, we'll be moving on fast. We don't intend to draw it out for 24 months, but I do appreciate Councillor Charles giving us that period of time if we need it.
Thank you. Open for discussion. Yes, Councillor Gresham.
I won't be supporting any of these motions, I'm afraid. We formed the committee, we've just changed the terms of reference that, we're all assured that they're going to do a good job, and as far as I'm concerned, it needs to be done as soon as it can. I mean, HorseDrawn tendering $500,000 a year, the sooner we can bring it into some sort of line, the better as far as I'm concerned, and I'm not suggesting that we mistreat the horses or we cut any corners. I'm just suggesting we get on with it. And to just add motion on top of the motion, we've got that many motions about this HorseDrawn in the system. It's surely virtually impossible to track. Let's just get on with the job. We've got a committee there. Let's do it.
Thank you. Any other? Yes, Councillor Marshall.
Well, my main concern here is looking at 24 months, because there'll be 24 months more of bureaucracy and costs and project officers, and it'll just go on and on. It needs to be dealt with reasonably quickly. I think 24 months is far too long. And I've said it before, and I'm ashamed to say it again, that I think the biggest problem is it needs to be taken out of the hands of the council, because the council's not there to run businesses. And I think the quicker the better. Obviously, the only issue there is we need to make sure the right person, people take it over. I'm concerned that while all this is happening, we still don't have a horse husbandry officer, and I think that's the most important thing to do out of everything. Talk about employing project officers, but still don't talk about employing the horse husbandry officer. That's my biggest concern.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Yes, Councillor Stephen.
I thank you, Councillor Charles, for putting up these three motions. But when I look at them, I think we have covered them tonight in the terms of reference. 24 months, I said earlier, that isn't the goal of this committee. This committee wants to get in, do the job and get on with other things. And also the terms of reference and the appointment to the committee is for a 2-year term. But that's got nothing to do with this particular project. As I said before, we'll be going through all documentation very thoroughly before we bring any recommendations back to council.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Councillor Charles, you want to close the vote?
Yeah, wrapping it up. Christmas is a time of pressure. We're moving into Christmas. We don't know what's coming next, what exciting opportunities there are or pressures there may be. So I was only trying to provide sufficient time because it seemed as though it was more of a rush. You people are very confident that you're going to wrap it up smartly. That's fine. I just think there needs to be some leeway, and the leeway is 24 months because this council will be remembered for what it did with the HorseDrawn Tram when it had the opportunity. And so at the end of our term in 24 months, I'll tell you what, I'm not coming back again, no way. I'll be pressuring you guys from the outside if anybody should stay, I can tell you big time, or I can speak my mind. But that's what it was all about, simple. If that can be worked in and administration can be kept off your backs, then let's get on with it. So I'm going to vote for it, let's see how we go.
Thank you. That closes the debate. Councillor Andrews, I'll just keep receiving mic off, thanks. Thank you. All those in favour of the motion? Those against? Motion's lost, thank you. The next recommendation from Councillor Charles.
The next one was just simply based on the fact that there's a lot of information out there, there's a lot of people who have professional, they're people who've got experience with the tram, who have worked with the tram and have so much information to share. I'm trying to search for the word. They're gurus. And I just was hoping that by doing this and putting this particular motion through, that you wouldn't be kept from speaking with those people if those people wished to speak to you. There's no pressure on anyone having to come forward. This is not a witch hunt or anything, but there is a lot of information out there from people. People come to me and they say, I would tell you, in fact I am telling you, but you can't tell anybody else because I this and my family that, and I don't want to risk anything. So I'm telling you, there's plenty of information out there, and you need to speak to the previous people who were in and left for one reason or another. So I was trying to open the door for you to do that. That's what that's all about.
Thank you. Looking for a seconder. Councillor Andrews, thank you. Open for discussion. Yes, Councillor Schofield.
I'm like the treadmill here, aren't I? Look, I just want to say, Councillor Charles, again, I really appreciate this. The committee had already started to speak to staff in the induction. They've spoken to me and have a list of people that have been involved in the horse tram that they would like to speak to, and they would also like to bring in some of the ratepayers and also speak to yourself and other elected members. So their goal is, as I keep saying, is to get as much information as they can so that when they make the recommendations to council that they've covered everything. And the reason being is, again, they are professional people. And Councillor Charles, I'll be making sure that this works because, as somebody said tonight, it is my head on the chopping block.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Yes, Councillor Marshall.
Look, I hope the committee does interview current and former staff, but they need to be very careful because we have some very, very good staff that have worked for the horse tram, and we've had some bloody awful staff that have worked there too. And don't forget, poor old BJ Coop died of neglect, and that's a fact. And you need to do a bit of research on that, Councillor Schofield, find out who was there, when they were there, what they know, and make sure it never happens again. I mean, it's already happened again with so-called carrots, but I think that was spotted a lot quicker than BJ Coop's demise. For a horse to stand there starving to death for 2 weeks and no one notices, and some of those people are still working on the horse tram, I mean, that's got to ring alarm bells as far as I'm concerned. I don't have a grudge against everybody that's had anything to do with the horse tram. I just think that some people should have been booted out years ago before they had a chance of doing more damage. That's all.
Yeah, I think you probably need to realise that in relation to BJ Coop, there was an investigation and staff were found to not to have been involved in it. So,
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry.
Move on.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, that's the PR version, but we all know what happened. I can tell you the person who was responsible, but I won't go that far. And I know that, everybody in the room knows that.
I think urgent.
I know my facts, you need to follow this. Doesn't matter.
Thank you. Moving on, any other comments? No other comments? All those in favour of the motion? And those against? That's 4-all. I'm going to be voting against the motion because there is already terms of reference in the reference for contacting outside information from people, so I don't see the need for it. Yeah, motion clock.